situation where it's okay to go through someone else's phone? Hi, my lovelies. Happy apple picking day! To speed up our new friends who have never hung out with us before, when people are on the lookout for advice from internet strangers, people send their stories to my subreddit, r/AmITheBadApple. Every Tuesday, we pick 4 of them and we read them together. We decide if they're a good apple, a bad apple, or a crab apple. And the weird fans of my husband keep trying to add all these sad apples, rad apple, mad apples. There's only 3 apples! But anyways, just as a friendly reminder, we don't always agree on what we think the apples might be. We all have different experiences, different perspectives, and we all come from different branches of the apple tree. So without further ado, let's get started with this week's episode of Am I the Bad Apple? Apple number 1. Am I the bad apple for not including my sister-in-law during my bachelorette party photos? I'm getting married, woo! And my brother, John, asked me to include his girlfriend, Sarah, as a bridesmaid. Just kind of as a way to get her involved with our family since he wants to propose soon. I wasn't happy. She's snobbish and almost in a comically villainous way. She once made fun of the fact that I get most of my groceries from a local supercenter and not somewhere more
high-end and expensive.
They're groceries. Why do you care where someone else buys them? But I love John and it matters to him a lot, so I agreed. On to the issue. On the final night of my bachelorette party, we decided to have one big meal that was really pricey and fancy that we all saved up for. Sarah said she had to take an emergency work meeting and first off, go ahead and get ready and she'll just meet us at the restaurant in a little bit. Guys, when Sarah showed up, I was floored. She came in a white, sparkly, sequin little outfit with a tulle skirt and a tiara. When we were planning the trip, my maid of honor made it abundantly clear that everyone was supposed to wear pink so that we could get a really cute photo at the restaurant with me in white and everyone else in pink. I'm not even kidding. Her outfit was so bridal looking, the waitress literally asked if we were having a joint bachelorette party. I was so upset that when it came time to take photos, I absolutely refused to have Sarah in them. She said it wasn't fair to her because she didn't get the memo, but I told her it was common sense to not wear anything bridal looking or white to a bachelorette party when you're not the bride. Plus, she was in the group chat and even made comments about other girls' outfits when they were talking about what to wear. So I know she knew. All of my friends are on my side and they made sure she didn't end up in any photos. But when we got home, she pitched a fit to my brother saying that we bullied her at my party and deliberately left her out. She was also pissed because a lot of family and friends noticed she wasn't in the photos and I wasn't afraid to tell them exactly why. My brother's really upset though because she's been crying and whining about it non-stop. Apparently they're so mad that they're gonna skip Father's Day brunch, so the whole thing is blowing up even more and is now a whole family issue. I'm starting to feel bad because my mom told me that my brother and Sarah are fighting a lot now and I'm not sure if I'm being the jerk here. My brother called me a bridezilla, but I really feel like Sarah was trying to ruin my night on purpose. So was I the bad apple? I want to know which of us thinks Sarah did it on purpose, okay? On the comments, let me know. Did Sarah do this on purpose? I think yeah. I will say there are younger people that don't always understand when it comes to bridal events. Hey, white's completely off limits. I'll give younger people that because I know people in the comments are gonna be like, blah, 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 blah. And I also say that from experience because when I was getting married and one of my brother's ex-girlfriends came to the shower and she came and brought a white dress. She was a teenager. She'd never been to those events before because none of her friends were old enough to get married. She really didn't know and I was very upset in the moment, but then later it dawned on me that, you know, when you don't go to these events and you don't have people that are getting married in your lives, how would you know? But I think there's a big difference between, oh, I didn't know and I just happened to pack something random because there's not a dress code, and hey, we've been talking about itineraries and what to wear for months, and we all said wear pink, and you went out and bought a white tulle skirt and a tiara. A tiara? In what world is it normal to wear a tiara, a crown, to somebody else's event? It's not about you. The crown pushes it over the edge. You can't tell me that wasn't on purpose. And I'm gonna be honest, I've been in a bunch of bridal parties in the last few years, and I'm in more in the foreseeable future. If I were to go to any of my friends' events and seen someone try to upstage my friend like that, I think there's a red wine in the fridge. I'd be that friend. I don't care. So if someone were to pull that, first of all, it wouldn't be one of my friends, and I have no problem being the red wine kind of a friend and kind of a person to someone who I don't even know, who wants to upstage my friend on her day. No. If you're going out of your way to try and upset my friend and take attention away from her, you're gonna have a whole lot of attention for a bunch of different reasons. I'm sure you can bleach it later, get the stain out, it's fine. So I'm going good apple, and I'm so glad she has good friends that didn't allow that girl into her photos. I don't think it's bridezilla at all to be upset that someone else is trying to make your wedding festivities about them. You're never gonna be able to take those kinds of photos again. Take them how you want. Absolutely, have the vision, go for it. I don't think that's crazy. But anyways, if I didn't say it already, good apple all the way. Apple number 2. Am I the bad apple for letting my colleague deal with a difficult student? I'm a counselor at a middle school, and I've only worked there for about 2 years. Last year, there was a new 7th grader who we'll call Robin. I didn't know much about her until the 2nd term because her grades were excellent. She had no behavior problems. A colleague of mine was a young 1st-year teacher who called me and informed me that Robin was having trouble in her class. She said Robin's grades were dropping significantly, and when she tried to ask Robin why, she wouldn't communicate well with her at all. According to most of her teachers, Robin's pretty shy, but it appeared to be this one class she was having trouble in, and this one teacher she was having issues with. After a more serious event, I had to call Robin into my office, and she was clearly very upset that I'd done so and refused to speak to me about anything regarding the event at hand. I can't really give details on what happened, just kind of confidentiality, but it was a bad issue. Robin claimed that everything was fine with her and at home, but she was reportedly constantly crying and was very difficult to work with according to the other students. I happened to notice that while she didn't want to talk to me, she was much more comfortable with another one of her other teachers, the one who sent her to talk to me in the first place. They seemed to have a really good relationship. I'm just happy she felt comfortable talking to somebody. I started learning that Robin was having a very difficult time adjusting the change in the new school and new teachers, and I assumed that because she had such a great bond with that teacher, maybe she'd be better off talking to that teacher than to me. I mean, her parents were no help at all, and I wasn't suggesting that her teacher act as a counselor, but instead maybe attend a session with us for an hour just to see where that got us. However, the teacher seems to have taken it the wrong way. She said that I was making her do my job and that she loved Robin, but she had no interest in doing anything extra that I wanted to
Add to her plate.
I kept pushing for this teacher to help out and even stopped calling Robin into my office altogether because it was just going nowhere. It was wasting everybody's time. Now, apparently one of Robin's friends decided to go to another teacher and talk to her about what's been going on with Robin, and this has now turned up into a much bigger issue than I originally thought that it was. All because I've been asking for this teacher to help me with this one student. And now, worst of all, teachers, admin, students alike, now are all saying that I'm incapable, and I'm starting to believe them. And now I've just about had enough, and I'm packing up my office and about to go look for another school. I didn't know what else to do about this kid. I mean, she wouldn't talk to me. I don't see if that one teacher couldn't help just a little bit. But should I have taken a different course of action? Am I the bad apple? I'm kind of confused. Did somebody else follow that better than I did? Because I feel like I get she was trying to respect and, you know, keep confidential, like that's important. But I feel like so much was left out that I'm having trouble understanding what just happened. What I'm gathering from the little bit that was there was that there was a kid, she was having trouble reaching, behavior issues started coming up, she didn't know how to reach the kid didn't want to talk to her, but would talk to that teacher until the counselor was like, hey, you want to tag team this? And the teacher said, no, I'm good. You do your job, I'm gonna do mine. And the counselor kept pushing until it became a much bigger issue, is what I'm assuming is long story short. And now she feels incapable that she couldn't do her job without this teacher and she's feeling bad. That's what I think happened. If you feel like I'm wrong, let me know in the comments what you think it was, because Again, confidentiality is important, but if I'm right, and that's the case, I feel like some people in the comments are gonna be like,
well, why couldn't that teacher help? Blah, 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 blah. That was so wrong of her.
I'm gonna tell you why I don't agree with you. The counselor specifically said, well,
I just wanted the teacher to come in and sit with us for an hour.
when is she supposed to do that? I don't know what you guys think, but teachers don't just have an hour during their day to do things. So either the teacher would have to lose out on their planning period, which is important. That's when grades get done. That's when lessons for next days get planned. Like, that time is very important. It's not just throwaway time. Or she wouldn't get a lunch, which is also important. You can't tell a teacher she can't eat during the day. Or it would be before or after school, which is also unfair. An entire extra hour of work that teacher will not get paid for. I'm not saying I would do the same thing. When I was a teacher, I was in and out of the counselor's office during my planning and lunch all the time. But that's me. I'm not gonna fault a teacher for not being willing to take their personal time and dedicate it to school, whether it's having to do all the planning and grading that they didn't get done during their planning because they went during their planning, or not being able to eat, or having to stay an entire hour after school, which maybe they have kids they have to pick up, maybe they have appointments. You don't know what they have going on after school. That's not really realistic. And again, I know there's gonna be people in the comments that are like, well, do it for the kids. Well, the teacher's time and her well-being and her being able to eat lunch also matters. I don't think she's the bad apple for not. I just don't know when realistically anyone would assume she would have time to take an entire hour and sit in a session with her. Now, the counselor, I think, was genuinely trying to help, but when you're constantly asking a colleague to do extra work and they're like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be doing that, and you keep pushing it, you're not respecting their boundaries. I understand you wanna help the kid. I get that. I think that's amazing. I'm so glad that child had you to advocate for them. But professionally, you're burning bridges. I don't know enough about this child. I don't know what's going on with her, but it feels like the parents and the kid and the teachers are all feeling like you're pushing something that isn't worth pushing. And I'm very hesitant to say that because you always see parents that are like, oh, that kid is fine, and they're not fine. They need a teacher or counselor to advocate for them. And without having all the details, like, I don't want to say, oh, you need to lay off, like this isn't your business, when that could be the situation. I'm just not sure if this was handled properly. By what I think happened, I'm gonna go with crabapple because I think that you had the best intentions, but I don't know if it went about the right way. Like, when you're focusing on, I can only help this kid if this teacher puts in extra time, and this teacher, well, that didn't work out. And then there was no path forward, and now we're all stuck, and now nothing is resolved. I don't know what another option would have been. Again, we don't have many of the details, but that clearly wasn't it. And now there are professional boundaries burned, and you don't feel comfortable at work, and you said this was your second year teaching, and young teachers, it takes time to figure out the status quo, you know? I only taught for 4 years, and when I first started, I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I thought I could change the world all by myself. And that wasn't the case. But sometimes those mentalities come on a little strong, and it creates unrealistic expectations, and then you become so headstrong on certain things and certain topics, and it's not helpful to anyone, and it's not realistic. And sometimes you just have to learn to let things go, and that is really hard as a new teacher who wants to come in and change the world. But that is also learning to pick your battles, and I don't know if this was one to pick. So I'm gonna go crabapple. Again, if I had all the details, maybe my answer would be different, but just based on what I think happened, that's what I'm going for. Apple number 3. Am I the bad apple for refusing to be friends with somebody? My best friend and I are all about 25 years old, and we're all female. We are huge nerds and love anime conventions. At one point, about 5 years ago, our friend group was considerably larger because one of our trio, let's call her Portia, had a boyfriend who brought his circle into ours. Among those friends was someone much younger than us, let's call them Ash, 17, non-binary. Because they're so young, they often didn't have a lot of money and weren't brave enough to travel by themselves to conventions. I have a disability pass, and the way it works in my country is I can always take an additional person on my public transit ticket. I did it for Ash a ton. Not because they and I are super great friends or anything, but because they asked me to and our mutual friends asked me to, so whatever. Just trying to be polite. My friend Kate often stays with me for conventions, and she books our hotel, gets the tickets, and she's just the organizer of it all. Kate would often pay for Ash's expenses and his treats and just little things along the way whenever we go. I oftentimes would also cook, bake, pay for groceries, foods all along the way, because that's just the kind of person that I am. We all just kind of take care of each other, you know, whether it be for food or hotel, or I help with people's makeups, Portia's great with wigs, Kate handles music, entertainment, and we all just kind of pitch in. Ash, however, has never brought anything to the group. They just kind of take, and never even gave us as much of a thank you. Then, Portia and her boyfriend ended up breaking up, and Ash badmouthed Portia online a lot. It was so uncalled for. Obviously, Portia wasn't friends with Ash anymore after that, and we all tried to kind of move on, but in the last year, Portia and I also kind of had a bit of a falling out, and we haven't talked much since. Now, as we're planning a new convention that we're all planning on going to, Kate tells me that Portia's friends with Ash again and is bringing them to the event that we're all planning to go to. I'm not interested in spending all my time, energy, and efforts paying for and planning for Ash when they don't ever do anything in return. I don't feel like I owe either of them anything anymore. I told Kate I'm not interested in being friends with Ash again, and also told her be careful not to spend any of her own money on Ash that she knows she's never gonna get back. Kate says that this was very out of character of me for not forgiving Ash and for not wanting to take care of these people and do nice things for people, and that it's weird of me to not want to move on and just be friends with everyone again. But I just don't feel like I should have to. Am I the bad apple? Maybe I'm lame. Why is a 17-year-old hanging out with a bunch of 25-year-olds? That just feels concerning to me. You know, putting those weird feelings aside, I don't usually pick stories that are, am I the bad apple for not wanting to be this person's friend? Am I the bad apple for not forgiving this person? Because to me, it's always just been a very obvious thing of like, you can keep your circle small. You're not a bad person for not giving your time to someone. You're not a bad person for not giving your money to someone. You're not a bad person for not giving yourself to a group of people. But then I thought, maybe it's not as obvious as I think it is. So I decided to pick one. Just to give everybody a reminder, it doesn't matter how nice you are of a person, it doesn't matter if you're mom, friend, nothing matters. If you don't want someone in your life, you don't have to have somebody in your life. You don't have to be friends with someone just because other people are friends with them. You don't have to forgive someone just because other people have forgiven them. You don't have to spend your money on things you don't want to spend your money on. I don't care if other people says it's nice. I don't care if other people ask for it. It's you in your life and your money. I would much rather have a fewer number of friends that are quality friends than a whole bunch of people who add nothing positive to my life, okay? And I stand by that. It's taken me a lot to get to this place in life, but I'm someone that if you don't add positivity, I'm not interested. I hope you do well. I want all the happiness for you. It's just not gonna be in my circle. I don't care about Portia's relationship. I don't care who Kate wants to be friends with. If you've decided you don't wanna be friends with someone, that's your right. Simple as that. So because the question is, am I a bad apple for not being friends with somebody? I'm gonna say, no, you're a good apple, but I'm still questioning why we're letting teenagers hang out with full-grown adults. Apple number 4. Am I the bad apple for going through my dad's phone? My family and our family friends were abroad at a hotel resort. I, 18 male, don't like shirtless photos of me being taken. On this vacation, because I'm finally 18, I was pretty much allowed to do my own thing. And that was mainly eat, sleep, and enjoy the pool. To that end, my days only ever lapped with family and friends in the evenings. One night, about halfway through our vacation, during dinner, I told them that I'd come down to the beach with them, which was about a 10-minute walk. They were happy to spend time together and said, yeah, let's do it. I'd like to preface this with knowing that it's been years of me telling my family and friends that I don't like my photo being taken when I don't have a shirt on. It's nothing new. I've been saying this over and over and over for years. So when we were all walking to the beach together, I just reminded them, hey guys, just a reminder, please don't take any photos of me. I don't have my shirt. When we were at the beach, we had the best time, and I decided that I was gonna take off my swim shirt and put on some sunscreen. It was just a little hot, and then I went back to get in the water. While I'm swimming, my dad starts taking photos of me without my consent. I see him and just sigh and roll my eyes, waving my arms at him saying, "Stop, I see you taking photos of me and I don't like it. Please stop taking photos of me." He starts smiling and just continues taking photos. I went to get out of the water and confront him and said, "Why did you do that? I specifically asked you not to take photos of me without my shirt on." My dad just instantly got defensive because I called him out in front of people and says,
"Well, you're my son. I can take photos of you if I want."
I was so irritated that he wouldn't respect my boundaries, so later that night, I snuck his phone away from him and went through it and deleted all the photos of myself. I don't like there being photos of me without a shirt out there. And when my dad found out, he got so annoyed. I get that he wanted to take a photo of me and commemorate the time at the beach and all, and that's fine, but I've asked him constantly not to take photos of me without my shirt on. All he had to do was say, "Hey, I want to take a photo. Do you mind putting your swim shirt back on?" And I definitely would have. That's fine. But I'm very insecure about my body and don't want photos of it out there on Facebook. I get that going through people's phones isn't cool and it's a boundary issue, but if he wanted me to respect his boundaries, he should have respected mine. Was I the bad apple? Is there ever a situation where it's okay to go through somebody else's phone? I remember there used to be all those memes years ago that if you snoop and you find something, you weren't in the wrong. But if you snoop and you don't find something, no, you're the jerk. Is that still a thing? I don't know. I've been Avery for 9 years, and I guess that's when those memes were popular, and I have not dated anyone since. I know there's gonna be some Karen in the comments like, "Does that mean you don't respect Avery's boundaries?" Avery and I literally will have no secrets. Like, he takes a lot of cute photos of the cats when I'm not home, so I'll just be like, "Hey, give me your phone," and he'll just hand it to me, and I'll just go through and look at all the photos. And same things when he's gone, and I save the good TikToks on my phone, and he wants to see those. So neither of us have any time soon had to deal with anything like that, and I know that it's so different, okay? This isn't a relationship we're talking about. This is a father and son, so maybe it was weird to make that comparison. That's not making sense. I should move on. I don't know if people will agree with me or not, but I don't think that he was in the wrong, to be honest. If all he was doing was deleting those photos, I totally get that privacy and boundaries are really important, but in a way, I think he's kind of right. The dad took these photos without his consent, and he's like, "Well, you're my kid, I can do what you want." But you can't. First of all, I cannot stand parents who are like,
"I can do whatever I want to this kid because it's my kid and I own him."
No, you don't. People don't own people, okay? That's a gross mentality to have. Why would you not want your child to be its own person? Second of all, your son's 18. You legally are not their guardian anymore, so no, you cannot take his photos without his consent. But you know, I don't think it's crazy, especially for someone who's a grown adult, to say, "I don't want my photo taken. You now took my photo, I didn't want it taken, you have to delete it. You're not gonna delete it? Okay, I'm gonna make sure you can't post it." I think when someone of any age says, "I don't want my photo taken," I think it's really rude to do it anyways. And we're seeing kind of that issue right now with minors, of their parents who are social media creators and like mom content creators and parent content creators and putting their kids on social media. Like, there's a really big debate about that right now, right? And I don't know all the details because, again, I'm not a mom, I don't have kids, so I don't really get on that side of social media, but I know that it's a thing. But if I was a grown adult was somewhere, and I know people were gonna say that it's not the same because like I'm a public person and a content creator, I'm saying that if I wasn't, okay? If I wasn't on the internet and I was out and about and someone started just taking a photo of me, again, remember, if I was not a content creator, and someone just started taking photos of me and I said, "Please don't do that, I don't want my photo taken," I would expect that to be respected, even as a content creator, okay? I am not saying that I would because I'm generally a pretty open person and I don't mind things like that. Like, it's happened a lot where I've had kids come up and ask me to take photos with them, and I love that. I think it's very sweet. But I know there are content creators that do not like for people to take photos of them, and I think that even though they are public people, that should be respected. I mean, we see issues with the paparazzi and celebrities and them not knowing boundaries and not knowing when to stop. Like, people are people, okay? Whether they're a celebrity or a content creator or your child, someone is still their own person with their own boundaries. And if they don't want their photo taken, I feel like it's really out of line to not respect that. I seem to have an issue where my camera turns off and I don't notice. Excuse the appearance. I just woke up 5 minutes ago to my editor saying, "Rebecca, there's not an ending!" But anyway, as a woman who grew up with body image issues, eating disorders, body dysmorphia, things like that, I can definitely see myself where if someone took a photo of me where I thought that I looked terrible in that way, like in a swimsuit or anything like that, I can see myself doing the exact same thing. So I just feel very hypocritical giving this kid anything other than good apple, and there might be people that disagree with me in the comments, and I would love to hear you out and chat about it, but that's what I'm going with. And with that, we have 3 good apples and 1 crab apple. Not quite an apple pie, but we're close. Because I'm recording this like so separately, I'm a little off my game. I can't think of all the things that I wanted to say to you guys, but honestly, all that really matters is that I'm so happy that y'all came to hang out with me today. I would love to hear what you guys got down in the comments. Did you get the same answers as me, different answers? And as always, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you guys hanging out with me again next week. I hope wherever you live that you have a good week of like low humidity weather. Humidity is the worst. I just came back to North Carolina from California, and the moment I stepped off the plane, I was like, I'm inhaling liquid. So I'm manifesting for you a week of low humidity. See you next week. Bye, my lovelies. Mwah.